Was it nap time yet? All right. Ms. Oswald will be joining us shortly, and I wanted to let the board know that Mr. Shannon Ho is excused. I'm going to request now on item 2, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will go now to item 3, which is announcement. Does anyone have any announcement? I have an announcement. This is for immediate release from the Missouri School Board Association. And the heading is Local Board Members Complete Training. Wanda Lane and Dr. Nikita Coleman, members of the Riverview Gardens Board of Education, completed 18.5 hours of training required by state law. The essential new board member training sponsored by Missouri School Board Association combined online independent study with on-site interactive sessions and was held at St. Charles, Missouri on June 10th of 2022. The new board member training places a strong emphasis on improving student achievement by providing guidance to board members on effective school board leadership. Some of the topics addressed include effective board operations, including information on the role of the school board in providing oversight of a school district, important school laws, establishing school district policies, fundamentals of school finance, protecting students from sexual misconduct, and the important role of the school board plays in establishing school district goals and monitoring progress. So I am very happy to present to Ms. Wanda Lane and Dr. Nikita Coleman their certificates for completing their board training. Would you like to come to the front, please?
That's great.
You got it now, y'all.
Congratulations. Right, that's right there.
Oh, good. Okay. There will be more certificates coming from Destiny, hopefully very soon. So we just are happy to have you two ladies complete those trainings, and it's kind of hard to keep that quiet. I just also wanted to announce that Dr. Coleman, Ms. Lane, and I attended the Missouri School Board conference. We just got back, I guess it was Sunday. But I want to tell you, you should give people their flowers while they live. When I tell you all that Dr. Coleman represented us at the Delegate Assembly, Dr. Coleman represented us at the Delegate Assembly. Right. There was an issue that was taking a lot of discussion, and she stepped up to the mic, and just the suggestion she made, everybody, yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. So she basically, what was a big debate at one time, after she spoke, that solidified it, and the majority voted. So I just want to tell you all, she showed up and she showed out. So thank you. We will now move, Shay, do we have any patrons that would like to address the board? Well, we will now move to Riverview Garden Excellence.
All right, good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues and community. Here today with Riverview Excellence. First off, I do want to go back to our previous meeting. We recognized some teachers for Apple for the Teacher from Iota Phi Lambda, and one of our teachers, Miss Valerie Morris from Central Middle School, couldn't be with us last week, but she is here with us today. And so Miss Morris is also being recognized for Apple of the Teacher Award. You can come on up. And so we just want to acknowledge her since she was able to come out. Last meeting, we know we had the virtual day. And so she's here with us today. So we want to make this presentation.
I always ask those teachers that wonderful thing for us, how long they've been with the district. And she just told me since 2011 that she's also a graduate. Right. So congratulations again.
And again, Ms. Sharp is the president of Iota Phi Lambda. So thank you to your organization, Ms. Sharp. And also, excuse me, I also want to recognize two members of the Special Administrative Board, Ms. Veronica Morrow-Real, Mr. Tommy Harsley. The third are going to be recognized at the Elation honors for being servant leaders. And that is also, it's actually on the same date, November 19th at the Drury Inn in Brentwood. And so we just wanted to publicly acknowledge you all for getting that honor at the Elations honor. So great job. We're proud of you. And that's it for Riverview Excellence.
Now move into item 6, which is Riverview Gardens Student Representative Report.
Good evening, Riverview Gardens School District, board members, staff, student, and community. I have a few announcements for you all. I just want to let you all know if anyone still wants to take the ACT test, December the 10th, registration deadline is November the 11th. So we have a couple days, which will be the end of the week, to register for the December 10th ACT test. Also, we want to know that today is election day, so we want to thank all faculty, staff, students, and community members for exercising your right to vote. So thank you, everyone.
We will now move to item 7, which is the superintendent's report.
I only have one report today, and that's regarding the water main break that happened today at dismissal at LeMasters Elementary School. And as a result of continued repairs, the LeMasters School will be on an AMI virtual learning day tomorrow. It is our hope that classes will resume on Thursday. The faculty and staff will distribute Chromebooks to our scholars between 8 and 9:30. Parents with access to transportation can pick up their Chromebooks by going to the side of the building. They will also provide them with internet hotspots. For any parent who may be listening to the board meeting tonight, if you do not have transportation to come pick up a Chromebook, please call 314-868-8192 between 8 and 11, and to make sure that you notify us that you do not have a device, and so someone will bring it to you. We will also be sending lunch home with our scholars because we do realize that there are times when that's the only meal they get. We want to thank everyone for their patience, and I just want to take a moment to commend Travis Brown, who is the principal at LeMasters, the staff at LeMasters who kicked in, Dr. Levon Singleton, who immediately went over and helped to address things, to Ms. Barbara Sharp for also pitching in. I think Ishmael went over. Quite a few people went over to make sure that, and to the staff, that dismissal went as normal as possible. And I will tell you, if you see the pictures, water was actually running out of the front door of the building. It was running out. And so for them to be able to flip into that mode in a split second, I just want to commend the work that was done. And so tomorrow, those students will be on an AMI day. That concludes my announcement.
Yes.
So now that takes us to our items for information. Our first item for information tonight is the Gifted and Talented Program Eval. This item is in compliance with CSIP's Goal 1 Strategy C. Making this presentation, and is also reference board policy IM, evaluation of instructional programs. This item is for information. Making this presentation tonight is Dr. Tiffany Hunter, who is the science coordinator, Dr. Linda Smith, gifted and talented ed teacher, and Jill Meisen. I started to say that. Gifted education teacher. Ladies.
All right. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. JPA, colleagues, and community. As Dr. JPA stated, this evening we will be presenting the Gifted Education Program Evaluation. Currently, our program has 2 certified teachers, and they're standing before you, Dr. Linda Smith and Ms. Jill Meeson. We service 75 students, and that number is currently growing. And so right now, I will kind of turn it over to Dr. Linda, who will share with you some of the changes that are taking place.
Good evening. Changes made. We have the addition of Dr. Tiffany Hunter to the REACH program, and we're glad to have her on our team. Increasing our talent pool, the team has begun using MAP and STAR data to help increase our talent pool. We also conduct universal screening at the kindergarten level. We've revised our caseload. The REACH team has revised its caseload to ensure balance and efficiency for all teachers. Collaboration with building administrative teams. The REACH department is working with the school administrative team to collect data to aid in the identification of potential REACH candidates. And we've also expanded our program to offer more science, technology, engineering, arts, and math-related activities. Okay, our goals and objectives. The REACH department will explore various assessments that will help qualify underrepresented students. We're in the process of looking at the Naglieri, which is a nonverbal assessment to give to all 3rd graders. Also, we will continue to conduct kindergarten screening. Goal 2, in meeting goal 2, during the 22 and 23 school year, the REACH team will continue to increase the variety of program strands to include various kinds of literature, critical and creative thinking activities, effective thinking activities, STEAM, and college and career readiness within the gifted education program. In meeting goal 3, the REACH team will register teams for convention and the equations competition sponsored by the Gifted Resource Council. Our students have the privilege of competing with hundreds of other gifted students throughout the St. Louis metropolitan area. Our students will be competing in creative convention, creative problem solving, and also equations.
Good evening. In order to evaluate our program, we did use a tool that was given to us by the state and asked us to self-assess. To qualify for our program, the tools we use are several different IQ tests. One of them is the Slauson. The other one is the Kaufman Brief Intelligence Test. We also give the kindergarten screening is a creativity screener by Williams. And like Dr. Smith said, we are perusing giving the Naglieri to all 3rd graders. That's a nonverbal test, does not require any reading or math calculations. So we are evaluating our program success by the number of referrals and nominations that are measuring how well we are communicating our mission to the administration. Last year, we had about 30 referrals for the entire year. This year, in 1 quarter alone, we've had 47 referrals. So it does look like we are picking up some speed and getting more candidates to nominate. So this is based on our data and analysis of effectiveness. So we only had 19 referrals from the MAP and the STAR list last year. This year we have 65, and we can pull even further data from that once they're taking the STAR again. And so again, there's our last year of our 40 referrals. Students benefit from this program because it nurtures their unique gifts and talents. It does renew and reinvigorate their zeal for learning in the regular classroom as well, and helps them to elaborate and then extend and connect to their learning in the classroom. They participate in STEAM activities. At the high school, we're very, very well versed in the technology careers of tomorrow and trying to guide students into those career exploration units as well.
These are some pictures that show some gifted education in action. We do have here on the left side, we have Meadow students, grades 3 through 5. They're exploring geometric solids as they learned about dimensions. And then here on the right, we have scholars from Gibson who created scale models of neighborhood pools after learning about the metric system. Here are some photos of our middle school and also some students at LeMasters who are actually practicing for the Winter Academic Challenge Cup. They'll have an opportunity to compete with their peers around the St. Louis area. And so that's something that our teachers are working vigorously with getting our students prepared for. So opportunities and next steps. And so we will continue to identify possible candidates using the district-wide assessments as well as statewide assessments. As the team mentioned, we are exploring the NNAT 3. We would like to find an online version for it so that we can efficiently screen our scholars quickly at the 3rd grade. We will also work with our administration to try to give them information about characteristics of gifted students. We understand that there is a misconception that students who are gifted are those students that are sitting there and who get straight A's, but we understand that that's not the case. And so we want to make sure that teachers and administration are aware of those characteristics that they might see in a gifted scholar. Also, we will continue to review, revise, and develop a rich curriculum that promotes STEAM and problem-based learning. We will also begin to track our gifted students' achievement using our district benchmark. And so we want to see how our students are progressing on the MAP test as well as the STAR test to see if there's any interventions that we might be able to give them in their tier 2 support when they're with our reach teachers. And we will also monitor the success of gifted students on program assessments to assess the effectiveness of our gifted education units. Are there any questions or comments?
I wanted to ask, what do you think? You said there was an increase of students. If you can name one thing that you think might have contributed to that, what would you say?
I would say last year they only looked at the map and it was because STAR was kind of new. And so this year we were really able to dive into the STAR data with the help of Dr. Kennedy. And so we were able to see a little more growth out of our students, as well as we was able to identify more students who may have scored advanced. And kind of when I was looking at that, I was looking for students who were in the 92nd percentile or higher. And so those students that was in that 90 percentile, those were the ones that we kind of pulled as possible people who might be able to be tested.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Our next item is the travel report for November 2022. Making this report is Ms. Barbara Sharp, Executive Director of Continuous Improvement, Title IX Coordinator for Students and currently Professional Development. This item is in compliance with Board Policy DCLA. And again, it's for information. Ms. Sharp.
Good evening to the Special Administrative Board, Superintendent Pruitt Adams, colleagues, and community. So tonight, as has been stated, I'm presenting for information the travel report. The report, as requested, includes key information such as the name of the individual that is requested travel, that role that that person has, the position that they serve, the location of the intended travel, and all pertinent information that is related to this particular travel. It includes an estimate amount for the travel as well as the funding source. So you have on the document, you have acronyms that basically describe the name or clarifies the name of the event or the vendor, and that information is presented for information. So I'll take any questions that you may have at this time.
Yeah, I see on the report that you have things listed in 2023.
Yes.
But the November report, so this report is based on what's requested at that moment,
Yes.
regardless of when it's taking place.
Yes. So that's what I work hard to do, is to give you a profile of, so anything that as it is approved, then you have a profile of what travel is planned.
That also avoids us from coming to the board at the last minute with time constraints.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our first discussion item is item 9A. It's a charter schools discussion. As you know, the board had a town hall on October 18th. And there was a brief discussion at the last board meeting where the board indicated they would come back today and have a discussion as to whether or not you want to move forward with making a public statement or opinion tied to charter school. I'll turn it over to the board.
Thank you. At this time, I would like to hear recommendations from each board member. If that's possible. At this time, I would like to hear recommendations from each board member. If that's possible, I'd like to know your personal position.
Opposed?
Opposed to making a statement or
No,
opposed to
charter
charter?
schools. I'm,
So we want to make a statement that the state said you.
well, I think, that presentation that was done at night, with that, in that form that was, that spelled it out, so. According to them. Taking stance to educate. Why? Persons.
Does anybody have a different opinion than Mr. Jones?
Not at all. To the contrary, I'd like to add,
Please talk into your mic.
Yeah.
I'd like
Ms.
to add,
Oswald
if we could perhaps have another informational, somehow I feel that maybe sometimes our parents didn't they didn't make the connection to the impact for our community. And if we could have another forum where we delve into that information and how it negatively impacts our school community, our property values and those things, and the cost that it would be for our schools. I don't think that message is clear enough.
Would you be opposed to that, Mr. Jones? Any
The
other
statement's
position?
going to be released in what format, and what medium? What statement and how will we release the statement? Any of you with respect to how we do that?
Well, if we had another meeting or type of meeting, scheduling is going to be really crucial. You can say.
So with regards to Mr. Reverend Horsley, I don't know why I'm thinking Walmsley, Reverend Horsley's comment, his comment about how a statement would be issued. There's multiple ways you can do that. The board can actually make an opinion statement and present that in a board meeting. Then that document becomes a public document. Anyone has access to it. All they have to do is go into board docs, or even if it is then put in one of our 5 things you need to know that is sent out district-wide. So there's various ways to get that message out. With regards to Ms. Coleman's suggestion about another forum, depending on when the board wants to do that forum, when we talk about time constraints, there's only one board meeting in December. And it is our hope that at that board meeting to kind of give an address on where the district is with regard to academic performance and moving forward. The next schedule that's currently waiting for a date is in March, which may then be too late. And then there's another forum that we plan for May. So if the board would want to have a forum, my suggestion would be is no way at this point you could do it before winter break, just because of the time.
So with that in mind, can we include information about the impact in the written information that?
As a board, if that is your collective opinion, yes, you can.
I think that the comparison that was distributed at the town hall meeting was very effective, and it's factual. And I think that the statement should lean very heavily into that factual distinction between charter schools and public schools, because I believe that perhaps many people in the community are just unaware of just what is entailed for both of those two different types of systems. So I would just hope that when we formulate whatever the statement is specifically, that be the emphasis.
So I have a couple of questions. And Superintendent, you spoke about timing, I suppose. Is there a time limit or time frame that the board or the community or whomever makes this decision, that whoever approves this is going to happen?
No, not technically. The time frame I alluded to was based upon when we currently have town halls. I do not know the plan of the individuals who are putting out information. I don't know if they plan to petition the state for next school year. That I don't know. Sometimes when we go to our board presentations at the state level, there's conversations about charter schools, but it's about charter schools that are already currently in existence. Uh, The board, you determine the time when you want to make your statement, but I would caution you, if you put it out too long, then you may lose sight of it, or people who were at that meeting may lose sight of the essence of that conversation. The other thing I wanted to add, I hear many of the board members speaking to the information that was passed out. While that is public information, I would encourage you, if you link it or you want to tie your opinion to that, that you reach out to the presenter and ask permission to do so.
But it is public information.
It is public information, but if you are using or quoting her information that she developed, then you should really request permission to tie it into yours.
So my second question is, the statement that the board makes is our position. That in itself would not preclude another entity from pursuing this if they chose.
It would not. What it would do is say to the community the stance that the board takes regarding charter schools. And it would, as you indicated, it would give your rationale for why you are making the opinion that you make. That does not, and probably if an entity wants to do it and goes through the process, your opinion may or may not make a difference. But what your opinion will do is let the community know how you, as a Board of Education, feel about going in that direction.
So finally, regarding what Member Harsley stated regarding facts, we all know, of course, facts are facts. There's no indisputable, but perception is 9/10 reality. And I, since our last board meeting, I'm still hearing some community members who believe or think that this is a private endeavor, and they are associating private with superior. So whatever it is that we decide to publicly communicate, I feel very strongly about that message being very upfront, that we do not have any fact of that being reality. So that's going to be a challenge, because people don't know what they don't know, and you're used to thinking something for a long time. They just continue to think it. So I think that should be our goal if we're going to do this.
So that I'm understanding what you're saying, the information that was shared with us, that I believe that Board Member Jones and Board Member Hawkins is speaking to, is the sheet that she gave us that had the pros and the cons.
Mm-hmm.
And it also had the legislative where people could actually check it out themselves. So is that what you're speaking of?
It had the Missouri Revised Code numbers on
Right.
it. I saw that.
Right.
Mhm.
So my question is, I guess I'm a little confused about what you were asking.
Well, the message, I believe, should be communicated clearly enough that it is not just sufficient for us to verbally say this is not superior or this is not a private endeavor, that it needs to be very clear that this is a way that we're going to, that will impact our current students and our current, our district in a negative What?
Okay.
So similar to what Dr. Coleman indicated, when she mentioned, really talking about, so the parents hear and understand the true impact this will have on our students.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, I believe that document that we're talking about was created by MSBA because it had their logo in the top left corner. So I would like to recommend that you need to work with to come up with a statement and just bring it before the board to look at and discuss and approve or whatever. Because having 7 people trying to come up with a statement.
Okay. I
Would be
just wanted
kinda-
your opinion.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, yeah. You brought
Okay.
one back to us. I think-
And I have no problem with doing that, and I'll probably I'm on vacation, so I'll probably do that tomorrow and send that out to you all. Ms. Oswald, did you have comments that you'd like to make regarding that information?
My concerns over and above the money is what
I can
kind
barely
of,
hear you, Mary.
my concern is that better?
I'm not sure what she said.
Say something again, Mary.
My concern is not just about the money, but the quality of education or lack thereof that our students will get.
She said it's not about the money, it's about the quality or lack thereof of education that our students will get.
And we need to express that
That
to the
part
parents.
that
Okay.
needs to be expressed.
Okay. Well, I'll take all of this into consideration, and like I said, I'll work on something tomorrow, and I'll try to get it out to you all before 3, so that you'll have time to look at it. And if you don't look at it, maybe tomorrow, then maybe you can look at it Thursday and get back with me before I go back to work on Monday.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a further thought with respect to this. Dr. Pruitt-Adams, are you prohibited in any way from making a statement with respect to your view?
I
relative?
really should not.
Okay.
I really should not make a public statement. I've
No.
made my statement privately,
Mhm.
but I really should not make a public statement.
Of course, not about the specific group that we believe is intending to start a group, but just in general with respect to the distinction between public schools and charter schools.
My professional opinion would be that a charter school in Riverview Gardens would be the demise of Riverview Gardens.
You're the face and the voice for this district, and I think that your words carry a lot of weight. And I think if it's possible within whatever legal confines are appropriate, or just social confines that are appropriate, to include a statement by you, whatever.
You mean
whatever.
in the written statement from the board?
It didn't
or
have to be a
the
statement
one
from the
I
board,
just made?
but just your own statement as the superintendent.
Well, I did just make one.
That's
I
true.
believe that charter schools, the term I use with other people, it would cannibalize our district.
Yeah.
It would take funding from our scholars, funding from our teachers, and with no restrictions and none of the things that we as a public school have to be accountable for with test scores and such as that would not exist. And, people have criticized us as a district for where we are academically, and we're trying to change that. And then they would go there and think, oh, wow, this is the cream of the crop, and it's really not. The other thing it does is it normally takes, we're accountable for educating all of our children, regardless of their social, emotional, academic, mental health, behavioral issues. In a charter school, if you violate one of our rules, we put you out. That's not fair to the student either. And they have a choice of who they take and who they don't take. And while the message being sent to parents is that it's free, it's really not free. It may be free for the parents, but it's not free because that average daily attendance that we get that is calculated based upon our student enrollment would decrease. And we're already struggling as a district to maintain a sufficient fund balance. That is my statement.
Well, what you've just said verbally, orally, I think it's powerful, and I don't think it can be stated better with respect to what's at stake here. And I think if it's possible for there to be a memorialization of a written statement that encapsulates what you have just said, I think that that's helpful. So that's just my opinion with respect to that. But I agree 100% with what you just said. I just think that putting it in writing for people to read it later is also something that may be advantageous.
And I think once the board puts out our statement, what have you, we can also state that if people have additional questions or whatever, that they can reach out to us. And reach out to us. I think that's the information that we had. And if you'll remember the conversation that I had with someone that inquired, they were not saying that they were just approached. They were approached about starting. I just wanted to make that clear. If you need to reread that. Okay, so I have my marching orders and I will get that to work on that tomorrow and try to have, you all respond back to me at least by Friday. Thank you.
The next item is the revision of the 22-23 SAB calendar. As you recall, at our last board meeting, we asked the board to amend the calendar to include 2 paid well-being days the week of Thanksgiving, which then means November 21st and the 22nd. That would cause us to reschedule our regularly scheduled SAB meeting from the 22nd of November to the 29th of November. So we're asking the board to approve the new calendar. And this is in accordance with policy BDDA, notification of board meetings. And we would ask that the board approve this later in today's meeting. Are there any questions? The next item, item 9C, is the resolution for annual school board election. As you know, in 2020 and 2016, the St. Louis County Board of Elections Commission voted to establish a process through which municipalities could conduct elections. Now that we know when the elections are going to be in specific offices, as of October 25th, the board meeting for the Special Administrative Board approved entering into an agreement with the St. Louis County Board of Elections, because most of the time that sign up takes place where we're closed for winter break. And so we are asking that all candidates who file to run for the board make their declaration at the election board rather than the city or the district office. No filing fees will be collected at the Board of Election office. And for the first day of filing, a lottery will be conducted to determine the ballot placement, and that the election board will make the notice of the filing period per statute 115.127.5. And so this is in compliance, with board policy BBB, school board election. And we would ask that this be approved later in tonight's meeting. Are there any questions? So our next item is then item 9D is the talent ed perform. Making this presentation is Ms. Monica Williams, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. At the conclusion of her presentation, it is recommended that the SAB approve the $15,750 for the purchase of the talent ed perform software. And I believe we're asking for that to be approved tonight, or no? Oh, okay, disregard. This is in compliance with board policy GCN, evaluation of professional staff, and the collective bargaining agreement 6.1D, educator evaluation.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues, and community. Tonight, I will be presenting a discussion item for Talent Ed Perform, and this is linked to the teacher evaluation. And some years ago, the district adopted the MEES evaluation tool for teacher evaluations. And at that time, the district purchased Talent Ed Perform to track evaluation data. However, it was never fully implemented in the district, and also as a result, the district discontinued using it. However, the district is still responsible for tracking and reporting information to DESE annually. And so if we were to re-implement this software, it would just make tracking easier. It would increase the reliability of reporting the data. So with that, the cost to re-implement Talent Ed Perform in the district would be $15,750, and that will be paid for out of the Human Resources General Operating Budget. And again, it will just make teacher evaluations, the process more seamless, clearer, electronic signatures, their due dates, and it allows teachers to just keep evaluations, and also their evaluations and their classroom observations. We can add walkthrough forms. There are a number of things that we can do with this evaluation tracking software. Are there any questions?
And I just want to say that if you look at CBA 6.1.d, it says that we will use this system.
Right. It's also in our collective bargaining agreement that we would use a tool for tracking this information. And so we have been out of compliance with our collective bargaining agreement by not using the tool. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. The next item is the temporary staffing for human resources. Also making this presentation is Ms. Monica Williams, Assistant Superintendent. This is compliance with policy GDC-1, support staff recruitment and hiring, and policy DJF-2, purchasing. And we will ask approval of this item later in tonight's meeting. Ms. Williams.
Okay, thank you. This item is temporary staffing in the Human Resources Department. And so what we have going on now is we are implementing a new Human Resources Information System, and it is called Munis. And as a result of that, we have several days a month of training, and we also have implementation homework that we are responsible for. And so as a result, it takes time away from our normal workload. And so what we're proposing here is if we could have a temporary worker assist us. We are expecting that our implementation will be completed in the next 4 months, and to use K-Force staffing solutions, because they've been reliable and they always send quality workers, and we will be able to get the worker back who we had here. So we wouldn't lose time trying to train a new temporary worker. And the cost for that should be approximately $15,000, and that will come from the Human Resources General Operating Budget. Are there any questions?
Thank you. Our next item is the federal programs Title I grant acceptance for 22-23 school year revision carryover. Making this presentation is Ms. Lakina Curtis, our state federal programs. This is in compliance with CSIP's Goal 1 and Board Policy DD-AP1 Grant State and Federal Program Administration. We will ask approval of this recommendation later in tonight's meeting. Ms. Curtis.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues, and community. Tonight, before you, you have information on federal revisions for this year's application of the 22-23 school year. All grants were initially submitted on time, June 29th. However, they were all returned to have updates, revisions, and we had additional funds allocated to us. Both applications, or all applications, have since been returned. The larger one was returned, turned back in on October 25th, and then the little A was returned on October 28th. It does take DESE some time to review all applications as they're doing this process for every school district in the state. However, our information was in on time. Some of the revisions and changes included some salary revisions, some things for our students in transition department. There was also something that was very different this year is our early childhood program would normally come out of the larger pot of money. They now have their own set aside so that those funds don't have to come from the other attendance sites at this time. So you can see each individual application. However, our application increased by $4,699,057 for a total of $11,581,463 that has been distributed to Riverview Gardens. Federal Programs is requesting that the Special Administrative Board accept and approve the immediate use of available grants, and request for approval is also later this evening. Are there any questions?
I don't have a question. Thank God for the increase.
Thank you. Our next item is the district intercom and paging system. And this is also tied to what the presentation is made. Just want to say it will enhance safety and security.
Yes, good evening.
As it relates, this item is in compliance with CSIP's goal 1 and 4, and it is compliance with policy ECA, buildings, grounds, and security. At the conclusion of, there's Dr. Larry, with Dr. Larry and Tom Randall's presentation, we would ask approval later in this meeting.
Good evening. I'm here to present for discussion a district intercom paging system. This past summer, we were reviewing the current state of the intercoms and paging systems in the buildings and determined that over the course of years, that's one of those systems that never received the attention that it needed. Some schools have inadequate systems. Some have one system that's different from the next system. So we did a review and we put out an RFP for a new standardized district-wide system that's the same, that integrates with our new phone system that we had put in a few years ago. We had 8 respondents show up to the RFP, and only 3 of them actually put a bid in. The highest amount bid was $1,068,123, and the lowest was $478,117. And that was with Communication Technologies of St. Louis, which is our current phone vendor. The other bid was in between. I think it was a little over $520,000. So it's our recommendation that we move forward with CTI's proposal for their intercom paging system that integrates with our phone system. And it was noted on here that we'll send for review to legal. That's already been sent and received back from legal for that, for the contract. Is there any questions?
I'm just curious. That one bid is 600,000.
Not exactly sure. The only thing I can tell you is that the company that bid on that was an electric company, and they were doing it on behalf of another company. So I think there was price markups because of the middleman type of thing. Whereas the other 2 were the vendors, they were actually going to be doing all the work. The other ones, I think, were going to be outsourcing a lot of it. So I think there was a lot of cost with that. And also, we've been told that once they receive a purchase order, we're looking at 6 to 8 weeks before we can even expect equipment to be coming in because of all the shortages in the supply chain.
So this is just a paging system in the buildings? This is what this is?
Yes. So what it's going to do is in some of the buildings, they don't have outdoor speakers. In some buildings, they don't have it in the hallways. In some buildings, they don't have it in places where they would need to have it. This is to get everybody all on the same page. We have the middle schools that have a different system that sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. The high school system is so outdated that I'm even surprised that it still works, and I don't even think parts are available for the system that they have there. And I would say that the high school is probably the most complete working system of all of them. And even then, it's probably 20 plus years old.
So this sends signals or messages to teachers by on their cell phones or what?
No, so what this will do is that, let's say there's an incident in the building. You can target paging, you can target zones. So if, say, for example, you're in an elementary school, it can be configured to say, okay, I want to make an announcement to all the elementary class or all the kindergarten classrooms or first grade classrooms. You can send an announcement that's tailored specifically to those groups, or you can make an overall announcement to somebody, or in a situation where you need to do a lockdown, get it out to everybody and make sure that even if they're not in a classroom or they might be out on recess, everybody hears the announcement about something that's going on, whether it be safety and security related or something that might be just news for that building.
So these are new speakers and things that are throughout the buildings that'll be unified throughout the
Correct.
district.
And it's all going to tie into the phone system. So literally it can be programmed that whoever's designated in the building or multiple people come up and push a button and then make an announcement, and it goes to wherever those zones that they're trying to make that announcement to come out. Right now, we're lacking in hallways. We're lacking in some outdoor facilities and places where safety and security would definitely be, this would enhance that.
Okay, this is a little different, beyond this a bit. With respect to alerts to the parental body for the students, is it possible feasibly? I'm thinking of my daughter when they were in college. They had a paging system or messaging system that sent alerts to parents about things that happened on campus.
So do we have
something like that?
We have all calls that go out to the district of parents for things with
we have the robocall that goes out.
right.
We have emails, and the parents also have the opportunity to opt in to receive a text message. And that's part of their registration application. And so we have some parents who also receive it that way. We have talked about as another safety measure for adults, a possible app to also use. But I want to emphasize, if I can, what Tom said about security. Right now at one of our schools, if there was a lockdown and there were kids in the gym or the cafeteria or in the yard, that principal would have to go through the building with a megaphone in order for them to hear that, which then takes time away from getting into a secure lockdown position. So this intercom will serve multiple purposes. And for me right now, I can't speak for anybody else, the safety and security aspect of it is extremely important.
Like for example, at the high school right now, there's only 2 devices in the whole campus that can make an announcement at the campus. One's in the main office and one's in the office in building 3. There used to be one in building 2 and 4, but I don't think they're operational anymore. So the system is that old that we can't, with this new system, we can program any phone in the district to be able to make the announcements anywhere we need to. So we're no longer restricted to where this wire went to hold this phone that connects into that system. It's now all integrated into that whole system.
Yeah. How soon can this be operational?
Well, like I said, they're telling us a 6 to 8 week lead time to receive the equipment. Again, they've got to order it and not everything's in stock and there's delays. So I would say there's some things that could be started on now, like some of the wiring or some of the pieces, but the equipment that we need to receive probably couldn't start to be installed probably until the new year. If I'm being realistic.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
The last item is the proposal of district-wide temporary staffing services with Advanced Outsourced Solutions, Inc. And this is to fill custodian and food service vacancies. Making this presentation is Dr. LaVon Singleton, CFO, and Ms. Monica Williams, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources. And joining them is Ms. Charlotte. I know her. Charlotte Hammond. At the conclusion of this presentation, we would ask that the board approve this item.
All right. Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt-Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight, we'll do a quick presentation on a proposal for district-wide temporary staffing services. presented to the Riverview Garden School District by Advanced Outsourced Solutions Incorporated here in Alton. Let me say, just a couple weeks ago, I had the privilege of sitting down and meeting with this team. And I was a little reluctant. You know, we've met with people on several occasions to, you know, bring in proposals and tell them, you know, what you can do. And so I think there was a little something different about this proposal that struck myself. And so I immediately interrupted Monica's rotational along with Dr. Pruitt Adams. And so the three of us got to hear this presentation. I do want to give Mrs. Charlotte Hammond an opportunity to just give you a quick, I told her, 2-minute overview of her company and what they specialize in, and then just move forward with the presentation. So, Ms. Hammond.
So again, my name is Charlotte Hammond, and I am the CEO of an organization called Challenge Unlimited. We are located, our corporate office is in Alton, but our mission is to help employ individuals who are disabled, disadvantaged, or veterans. We do employ individuals outside of that, but that is our mission. We've been in operation for over 60 years. And several years ago, we decided to start a contingency staffing organization. That office is located in Maryland Heights. And what we wanted to do with that particular new division was to bridge those individuals who we felt had barriers to employment. And so we started last year with the St. Louis Public School District. And we started with just a few positions, just their custodial. And because we were performing so well, they expanded their whole, all of their openings to us outside of their IT. From that, the rumor just started kind of getting around in circles that people know each other. And so Webster School District reached out to us, and now we're doing all of their staffing for custodial. And our mission is to help individuals convert to full-time employment. That is our mission. Our mission is not for people to be long-term temp employees. We want to see individuals succeed, and that is our job. And that is what my board of directors hold me to as the CEO of that organization. So we look forward, hopefully, that this is an opportunity. I am from St. Louis. I grew up in the Normandy School District. I used to volunteer in Riverview with your color guard. And so I feel like I'm back home. And so hopefully this is an opportunity for me to come full circle and work with the district. Thank you.
And so the proposal that you have before you is for staffing of our vacant custodial and food service positions. I believe that once we see some success in those areas, we're going to be right back before the board asking for assistance in those other areas. And I know Ms. Williams has done, we do a career fair just about every other day, okay? And so we have done so many things to try to attract and retain quality employees. And so I think this is just another step in the right direction. So Ms. Williams, did you want to say anything? No? Okay. All right. So that really concludes our presentation. Again, the temporary workers, the idea is to convert them at some point after 520 hours. We can hire them at no cost. If we hire them prior to, there are intervals or tiers in which there's a percentage of their annual salary that we would have to end up paying as a transition fee. The workers will make the same amount of money as our workers, so $15.29 for cooks, 69 or 68. I'm sorry, the information is in your package for the custodians as well. And then the markup obviously would go as overhead for advanced outsourced solution. So that concludes our presentation. Are there any questions that I can answer or any of us can answer at this point?
Does your company utilize any ex-felons or
we do, and it depends on the customer. So as long as the customer is open to returning citizens, typically if they're nonviolent offenses, they will work with those individuals. So if they're just kind of minor drug charges, things like that, again, we just have to work with the district to find out what your parameters are.
Thank you.
I don't have a question, but I want to be transparent that, when you said Maryland Heights, I kept trying to figure out where I have run into some situations like this before, advocating for, people with disabilities. And I remember seeing this in, Maryland Heights. So I just want to be transparent that I had seen information about your company before.
Oh, okay.
So that the board.
Is that good?
It was good.
Okay.
Did you say 60 years?
Yeah. So I became the CEO. I was previously the CFO for the organization, started 15 years ago. And about 6 years ago, I became the CEO.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the items for discussion. We will therefore then move to item 10, which is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion for approval? May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hear your aye. We will now move to items for consent. We will now move to items for action. A is the revision of the 2022-2023 SAB meeting schedule. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
B is resolution to annual school election. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Temporary staffing and human resources department. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 D, federal programs, title grant acceptance, 2022-2023 school year revisions carryover. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
E, a proposal for distant-wide temporary staffing services with Advanced Outsourced Solutions Incorporated to fill custodial and food service vacancies. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And F, district intercom paging system. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, may I have a motion for adjournment?
So move.
May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.